on Wednesday morning, as I was heading to work, my mom rushed into the living room. And normally natoka earlier, so no one should ideally meet me. Then she came in pain. She came in crazy talking pain. She was like, I need to go to hospital. It's that moment when you've just woken up from a hard night of questions, a hard night of unmet expectations, a hard night of still going on this thing that people will tell us, and you and fight. And my mom came balancing tears, because I think in our culture they taught us that parents should not be crying to their sons this day. It was different. And she was like, you have to take me to the hospital. At that moment, I called in the office and I was like, I'll show up. And we got into the car. Now she had an issue with her leg. And the worst thing is it couldn't be traced. The moment we went into the hospital, went straight into the ward and they began checking on her leg. She's tossing and turning in pain as I am the next of kin seated next to her. Questions that flooded my mind: how can this be happening at this point? Where did I go wrong? And how far down is this supposed to go? But the interesting thing is, my mom told me something that I really want to employ to each and every one of you guys. She asked me and directed me to go into the bag and to dish out her devotional book.
Wow.
If she's a joker, she's just a joker. She's about to die and she's just struggling with it. And I just want to read the verse that was there on that day, because it was something that was very personal. The title was Ask for Direction. Jonah 2 verse 2. This is what it says. And Jonah prayed to his God from the belly of the fish. My mom smiles at this point. He prayed in trouble, in deep trouble. I prayed to God, and he answered me. From the belly of the grave I cried, help, and you heard my cry. Immediately I read the devotion. I am honestly telling you guys, the majority of the healing was a personal healing than an external healing. And even today, as we share from God's word, still in line with Daniel, the main question is, what's next? What happens next? And that's a question that floods each and every one of our minds. Everyone from whichever walk in life, there's a point that reaches where you actually saying, what next? And the question might look like this. In your life, how many things have you lost? Have you lost an item? That might be a cloth. I have lost so many to my brother. Have you lost possession, money? Have you lost time and opportunity? Or have you even lost a friendship? The level keeps on going on and on. But I've realized in life there are few essentials that are higher than this. And even as we turn into Daniel 6 from verse 16 all the way till 24, I really want to listen into what an 86-year-old guy lost. And this is what it says, verse 16. And the king commanded, and they brought Daniel, and they cast him into the den of lions. The king spake, and he said unto Daniel, thy God whom you serve continuously, let him deliver you. And the stone was brought in front of the den, and it covered the mouth of the den. The king sealed it with his own signet and with the signet of the Lord's. that the purpose might not be changed, or that it might not be opened up concerning Daniel. Verse 18, and the king went to his palace, and the whole night passed as he was praying and fasting. Neither were there instruments, or neither was there music before him. And sleep went away from him. Verse 19, and the king arose very early in the morning, and went quickly into the den of lions. And when he came to the den, he cried with a lamentable voice unto Daniel. And the king said, O Daniel, serve of the living God, is your God, whom you serve continuously, able to deliver you from the lions? Then Daniel said to the king, O king, live forever. My God has sent his angels, and he's shut the mouths of the lions, that they may not have hurt on me. That before I was innocent, and before innocence was found in me, and also before you, O king, I have done no hurt. Now this is the most important verse. Then the king, exceedingly glad for him, commanded that they should take Daniel up out of the den. So Daniel was taken out of the den, and no manner of hurt was found on him, because he believed in God. Guys, I want to employ to you that a few stages in our lives really require for us to do a few things. And the main thing is to believe in the Lord. 1878, a famous story is given of the chapel of Loreto. Actually, if you go there currently, you'll still find the amazing scenery there. A few people led by a nun were convicted in their hearts to abandon everything they knew in the States and to head out into New Mexico, saying that we want to take all our offerings and everything that we hold key, and we want to go and set up a chapel. And that's how the journey started. They built the chapel, very small chapel, around 70 meters squared, and they had an upper section. The technical word is a cantilever. Basically, it's an area where the worship team was supposed to serve. Now, in the current Catholic society where the nun was raised in, the worship team is actually as a background, and the preacher is in front. But now they had a very, very big issue. They were wondering at that moment how they would connect the ground floor with where the worship team would serve. That the distance in it did not allow for enough risers and treads for it to be a comfortable ascent. Were they to bring ladders every single day? Were they to have a rope every single day? And it was a big issue, because she had voices in her head. Look, every single thing you've done has amounted to nothing. And that's why we know this. There are people who are not able to serve. Now, interestingly, they dove into 9 days of fasting, clean fasting. And their prayer was just one: Lord, please come. Now, interestingly, one morning after the 9th day, a carpenter actually came in and started working on his materials, started working on each and every one of the treads. And he actually developed the world's first and the most important spiral staircase. And that's actually where it has emanated from. But little did they know, when the nuns actually came in, they found the staircase, the carpenter went, and there was no trace of where he came from. But a note was left. A note was left saying, you called for the carpenter and he came. Not because he was too far, but because he's always been there. Now the question, guys, is how many things in your life have you lost? That there's a moment that it reaches where people are wondering, can I really move in front? Can I really move backwards? Can I really move forward? This is how a friend said it to me. There are few things you can lose in life that can really destabilize you. And I have a few of the very essential things that you can lose in life. This is the one most important thing you can lose in life. Before 6 o'clock p.m., this is one thing we've lost in life. And this oil, without this oil, you're not able to move the next step. How does it look like? A frantic mother asking, kwa nini mafuta ndio tutakosa kwa hii nyumba? And this, although it looks like a very small, silly thing, it can end up being a very, very big thing. Now to add on that, there is even one worse situation. When you lose this, you really, really know the pain. When you lose this, actually right now, I am just waiting to see on my phone, Pasi, man, what? Because there are few people who will not take the next step. And it becomes another issue. Now, I thought it ended up there. But I remember there's something, if my dad loses, it becomes a very big issue. I am very sure you're not ready for this. Andrew, where is it? And because I have this today, he's lost every single moment of his personal life. It's a very pivotal thing in his heart. But he's lost it. And he cannot make the next step. He cannot even move from this side to this side. Now, unfortunately, I realize that we always think that it's only the things that we possess that we can lose. But there's a moment when, if the guy at the gate loses this, it becomes a problem. Because I realize that I'm now exposed. What's the underlying thing? That I cannot move forward and I cannot move to the side. Now, this is the last thing because I'm a teacher. If you lose this, it becomes the worst moment. If you lose this, you cannot go forward, you cannot move backward. Because you're looking for your towel. You're looking for your towel so frantically. People can meet you and they can start wondering, towel yangu iko wapi? It's your towel, you've lost it. And sometimes, guys, we go through these unreasonable moments in life. Unreasonable moments in life. And the truth is, whenever all of these things are lost, something that you will realize is, it's no one's fault. Every single person is striving to look for them. And that's what I want to bring before you. What's the hardest thing you've ever lost? Even just inquiring from your neighbor. I hope that gives you perspective. Maybe the Christ shirt actually means that. So even as you're asking them, just take some moment. What's the hardest thing that you've ever lost? What's the hardest thing that you've ever lost in life? Just ask them one time. It might be the 100 bob. Now they have to descend from the mountain to move. What's the hardest thing that they've ever lost? 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 Now the answers can array from losing a job. Some people may even say losing an opportunity. Some people actually around you might even say losing some money. Or even losing their lunch. It could be from the lowest thing to the highest thing. And interestingly enough, each and every one of these things that we lose, they mean something specifically personal for your life. They mean such a personal thing for your life. But I've realized that the main thing that we can all lose, the most important thing that we can all lose, is there are moments in life, just like Daniel, you end up losing your reality. That whatever you went to sleep knowing that these are the cards that I have behind my back, at least I know already I'm in a foreign country. It can't get worse. Already I'm a eunuch, meaning that I am not able to reproduce. Maybe it's because that these people are looking down on me as a Jew. I have literally lost everything. And for each and every one of us, we reach that point where our reality is lost. Therapy session with one of my counselors. I went in and the guy asked me, "What's actually on your mind? What have you lost?" And this is how I recounted it. Very interesting, because I hadn't thought about it before. I said, my life right now, it looks like I was on the fast lane of the superhighway. That I'm on the fast lane and I have my car, and interestingly enough, or suddenly the smoke just starts emanating from the bonnet and my hazards get on. Hadn't planned for anything like this. The oil is in check, the petrol is in check, every single thing is in check. But now I begin to move to the outer lane. If you've driven, you know how this is. So I'm holding my steering wheel as I'm moving, as I'm hearing people honking and people even rolling down their windows wondering, what's wrong with you? Can't you just get something right? This is a road cars need to pass. And I go on narrating to him. I move to the second lane, and in Kenya then I move to the final lane, and my car is stopped. Now when I think that's the point where the shame ends, people now pass by and they roll down their window looking back at their kids saying, that's how it looks like. That's how it looks like when you're stopped. That's how it looks like when you're stalled. Now kids, what I want you to do is never get yourself in that position. And I finished. And the counselor looked at me and he was like, okay. I think also my car, let me just check. And sometimes, guys, that's where we find ourselves, and there's no exception to any single one of us. Daniel found himself in this position. And the unfortunate thing is, he understood something that I want to bring to you guys in a way that no one else understood it. And in a quick, short 4 points, he understood how to recognize the grace that he was given. He understood how to respond to his calling. And the final one is, he rested in God's will. Now the next one I'll just bring up later because it's one of the most touching ones. In beginning by recognizing his grace, this is what Daniel did. In the 10th verse we actually see that he knew that the king had signed this decree, that no one else would worship. Now, this is what Daniel did. Knowing this, he went, knelt facing Jerusalem, and he actually prayed. Most of us got in that decision or in that circumstance not to do that. Because we have learned to recognize every single thing in our life that is failing rather than what's constant. The moment I get the call that there's a mishap at home, I begin to recognize that I'm the problem. Most often than not, when I get a call from the office or from the school administration that this is your issue, then I begin to point issues or point fingers at myself that definitely I have to be the problem. That they've actually found out that now I'm vulnerable. No one can help me out of this. But Daniel angles it in a very different way. Having lost every single thing in his life, he starts by kneeling, looking at his pivotal point and praying. And that's my question, guys. How many times in your life when things go south, do you sidestep blame? Do you sidestep worry? Do you sidestep anxiety? It normally looks like this for most of us. How come it's working for Mosby or it's not working for me? How come it's working for these other people but it's not working for me? Now even to take it deeper, when you get the questions you can't answer, how come you've not yet reached that stage in life? What's wrong with you? What's your problem? Get your stuff in order. And that's what you hear every single day. You walk, this side the matatu guy asks you for fare. It's like you owe his mother. So many things happen. It's because we've piled up a lot of blaming of each other. And now this is what I want to ask you guys. Have you recognized his grace for our lives? This is how the angel of the Lord encouraged Gideon. One of the quote-unquote final judges. least amongst all the heroic stories. This is what it says. And the angel of the Lord appeared to him, Gideon, and said that the Lord is with you, mighty man of valor. Now, the sad fact of Christ and his story is that every single time you're reading it from a point of him condemning you. That definitely, Abby, you can't have done something better than this. Is this the offering that you're bringing to me? That's how we read it. Because we've managed to look at him from the lenses of our experiences. But I want to ask you guys to take a step of courage and to move in the position of him being with you. And one of these instances actually happened in a very, very grievous way. Family had just set up the home. It's a wooden structure in Texas, and all of a sudden, a windstorm shows up. And this is a hurricane, and it's coming, and it's rushing, and it's rushing. And I'm sure a few of us can even relate with it. And as it's targeted, and everyone in the news is giving out claims that if you're in this area, you need to move and you need to evacuate. But the mom and the kids are so attached to the place. How can we start over again? How can we start? The man is not even able to be emotionally stable. What does he do? Rushes upstairs, brings a mattress, and covers each and every one of the members of his family. From his wife to his 2 kids below there. His youngest son and the following sister. And this is what happens. He shouts, "Brace yourself." At this moment you can realize, like me, that he's not under the mattress. Where could he be? Has he already lost it, or has he already decided that he is going to be the sacrifice? And as the youngest boy peeps down from the mattress, this is what he sees. He sees the dad by the windowsill looking outside to anticipate the storm. He sees a few tears running down his father's face, and it confuses him because for the first time we have a problem that my dad can't even fix. But what does the young boy do? He steps out of the mattress and he runs and clings onto the leg of the dad, saying this exact words: "I know we are in issues, but here I am safer than there." It takes courage sometimes, guys. That sometimes you need to run head on into the issue. Sometimes every single person has stipulated what a failure you are. It could be the case of Daniel. Whatever he's done, he's learned languages, he's gained accolades, he's even at this point shown visions and interpreted dreams. But yet again, it happens. And some of us have moved into such a deep hole whereby climbing out is so hard. And this is why the second point really, really pushes us out of it. A response to his call. That as he's moving in the storm, as the disciples are in the boat, him being outside, the word he tells Peter, that's noted in the Bible as a dialogue, is come. Come. How many guys have heard these words? Maybe yours is, don't do it right now. This is the moment you need to cave in. They've said too many things about you for you to be reckless. Peter jumping on water, it doesn't get more reckless than that, guys. It doesn't get more reckless than that. But he understood what responding to his call means. And that's exactly what happened to Daniel. He's being ushered into his death. But he moves in valiantly and effortlessly, knowing that there is only one way out. That's going inside. And he doesn't know the future. Because a majority of us have been pushed to this way of thinking that I have to know the story from the beginning to the end. More importantly, I have to know what it meant for this person and this person for me to address it into my own life. But the problem with the gospel is it doesn't work like that. That a great person said, the moment you transact the most important thing in your life, that's when God comes in. The moment that you realize that this dream comes second to the Lord, then that's when he comes in. The moment you realize that the pride maybe I had for this way of my life comes second, that's when he comes in. That life in Christ will always require you to trade in one of the most important things and to take up his soul. And that's a question, guys, today, even as we go into an open loop position at the end of the sharing, that are you really, really ready to walk into the den of lions? Remember, he's 86. This is definitely not life preservation. He's going into his death. And they've decided that, again, in case he needs to go out, we'll have a seal on this den. And that's why, against each and every one of the odds, Daniel still moves in and decides to pray and decides to say that if the Lord is on my side, that is the only thing I will do. That leads him to rest. That he has decided to rest in God's will. The problem is we always hear this, that rest in God's will, be still and to know that I am God, understand that I am there for you. But what rest actually looks like, guys, is being able to sleep even in the storm. It's the second time Jesus has been in this same Sea of Galilee. And surprisingly enough, his understanding of chaos, his understanding of grief, his understanding of loss is sleep. Why? Because he knows that his Father is there for him. Now you've formed too many barriers, or let me use this word, you've formed too many false safes, that in case it doesn't happen by this time, in case I actually don't get married by 26, I might just fall to this. In case I don't end up having the job by this point, I still can go into this. And the problem is, as young guys, the pressure is not only there in our present, it's there in your future, where you can't even step into. And it reads you of today, because honestly speaking, how are you meant to know what's coming? How are you meant to know what's coming? But we need to learn to combat this with one thing: resting on his assurance. This is what the psalmist says in Psalms 139. He says it so clearly that every one of us should know with this. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me. It's too high that I cannot attain it. That wherever I go, your spirit is with me. If I ascend into the heavens, there you are. If I make my bed in hell, you're there. And if I take the wings of the morning and I dwell in the uttermost parts of the sea, there you're with me. And the claim is to invite God to even the broken places of your life. Someone was saying that the broken pieces that I have are not even able to be reshaped and to reformed into something worth giving to another person. But that's what rest looks like. That a belief against all possible happenings. That at the moment that they think that you losing an iron box is such a menial thing, it's not an important thing, but you know how your heart races. You've woken up and you can't find a few things. Now this is the encouragement, guys, that every single person goes through this. That even the strongest in the pack, the people you feel like have it all figured out together, the people you think, not this guy. The people who you've probably seen driving. The people who you've probably seen with an M-Pesa balance that's not below a G, 1,000. Meanwhile, wewe unatry kung'ang'ana kuona vile nitanunua credit na nibaki na something else. Even those specific people struggle with something. And that's what pushes us to the last thing. That when I learn to recognize His grace and to respond to His call and to rest in God's will, that the final thing is to rely on His promise. Rely on what He said to your life. And He keeps on speaking it out to you. The problem is it's too far for me to believe. How could you have known me before I was formed in my mother's womb? How could you have known all my days before I even stepped into it? What do you mean? You know the plans that you have for me and the promises that you've set before me. What do you mean? That, guys, we need to step out of a mundane way of looking at life based off of the experiences that we know. That at this point, Brit will tell me, don't move this way. I have already gone here and it's failed. Therefore, we need to move like this. But relying on God means that though weeping may last for the night, joy comes in the morning. That's what promise looks like. And He's not waiting for you to be at the moment where, I can see the morning come. He's at the point where you're literally in the weeping stage. And that's actually the prayer that I want to bring forth today for anyone who's struggling with what's the next step for their lives. But even as we move into our loop groups, a few of the questions that we'll even look at is, have you recognized His grace? Have you responded to His call? Have you rested in God's will? And finally, have you relied on His promises? And even as we have our heads bowed and our eyes closed, we want to really make it personal. That if you can relate with this and you can understand, sometimes when it's been flipped, what you thought would be it is not it. The family structure in itself has been flipped. Pain has just gone to another level. That everyone looking around you sees prejudice. That all the spots that you had, even the good ones, have now turned black. If you're struggling with a word that what's next, today this is the prayer. And today this is the specific call. That you don't have to carry that burden any longer. And your role is to just walk into the den. Since you've been continuously serving Him, it's enough to carry you to the next position. And I am very sure there are people moving with a burden of what's next. What's next in my life? I've already missed the deadline. What's next in my life? And in case you're asking for some guidance or some clearance, and that you're actually bringing yourself before the throne and the altar asking, God, you are next. Just raise your hand. We might all be in this position, and that's why my hand is raised up. In case your plea today is, Lord, I want you to be next in my life. That each and every one of the shames, each and every one of the blames, and the position that I'm at, Lord, I just want to commit it to you. You don't have to make a heavy claim, you just have to raise your hand. That, Lord, I've had enough. I've had enough of the complaining, I've had enough of the yearning for what was lost, but I'm just looking up to you. In case that's your claim today, or that's your prayer today, that you're looking for what's next, I want to usher you into holding Jesus' arms and moving in that position. And let me just lead you in prayer. That, oh Lord, you know each and every one of our hearts. You know how we've struggled to lose a few things that do not make sense to anyone, but they form the integrity of our lives. Lord, you know how that family relationship has been savored for one reason or the other. You know how that friendship has been tarnished, Jesus, for one reason or the other. And Lord, I know that it's not even on me, because I'm trying to look for it. But today I am looking up to you. I am responding, Lord, and I am recognizing your grace. That even as we go into this conversation, Lord, I want to speak a blessing, and I want to ask your Spirit to be in each and every one of us in such a way that we may be able to hear your voice calling and saying that your promise still stands. And oh Lord, I have prayed, believing and trusting in the mighty name of Jesus. Amen. Amen, guys. Now before we finish, something that was really impressed into my heart was, although I thought it was just one of the other things, it's so important for you to know that one of these is your mansions. I had this a moment back when I was thinking about faith, will, memory, promise, thinking about grace, but one of these is yours. That's how it looks like. One of these is yours. The promise is so simple. Just step in and wait for me. In case you want to pass by and just check on it, but I really, really do believe that, guys, this is your remembrance. It's a reminder for you that you still have your mansion being sorted out. Don't make it be lost. Don't look at it. Don't even try and question the things that are not working in your life. Because that's what he said. And if you believe that he's going to come back, that's a promise that you need to hold. So even as we get into our loop groups, maybe like 7 or so, today it's purely open-ended. Just opening your heart in maybe a few 20 minutes can definitely discuss a few the 4 points. So you're very welcome to get into your groups. You're very welcome to get into your groups. Yeah. Thank you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Just the people around you. You can feel very free.